Hello, guys. Welcome to Colors of Happiness. Do you like learning about news or things that are happening currently in the world? Well, then the Week Junior is for you. The Week Junior is news for kids about current events that are happening in the world. So, if you're not subscribed to the Week Junior yet, ask your parent maybe to subscribe to it for you. And it's really cool. I read it and I am really excited for it to come every week. So if you don't have it yet, then I'm going to be reading this issue, August 2nd, 2024, Volume 5, Issue 224, today. So it can be a little introduction for you guys. So how about we get started? Multi-award winning Science and Animals, and Puzzles and People, and Arts and Photos, and Books and Sports, and Googly-Eyed Trains. So there's always something like out of the ordinary for the last one, because there's some crazy news in the world. The world's best news and facts for young people. News, big change in race for president, page 2. Reading, check out this month's book pick, page 23. It looks like it's called Faker by Gordon Korman. I like Gordon Korman. I'll have to check that book out. Sports. Women's All-Stars compete, page 18. Making sense of the world. The Week Junior. The best magazine for curious kids. When in the Wild. The Liberian lynx makes a comeback from near extinction, page 10. Did you know? The lynx was classified as critically endangered in 2002. Several conservation groups worked together to save it. The population in Europe increased from 62 to more than 2,000. Wow. I can't wait to read about that. Now let's start. This week's big news. Election 2024. Did you know? Joe Biden was a U.S. Senator from Delaware from 1973 to 2009, served as Vice President from 2009 to 2017, and became President in 2021. And this is Kamala Harris at a campaign event in Milwaukee, Wisconsin on July 23rd. A rare decision. The end of Joe Biden's campaign came later than that of any other U.S. president who has decided not to seek re-election. Biden dropped out of the race with 183 days left in his first term. Lyndon B. Johnson, right here, ended his campaign in 1968 with 295 days left. In 1952, Harry S. Truman ended his with 297 days left. Biden exits presidential race. Joe Biden, the 46th U.S. president, announced on July 21st that he is ending his re-election campaign. He had been expected to accept the Democratic Party's official nomination for a second four-year term and to run against the Republican nominee, former President Donald Trump, in the election on November 5th. What happened? Biden announced his decision to step down in a letter posted on social media. It has been the greatest honor of my life to serve as your president, he wrote. And while it has been my intention to seek re-election, I believe it's in the best interest of my party and the country for me to stand down and to focus solely on fulfilling my duties as president for the remainder of my term. Shortly after, he endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris as the new presidential nominee and encouraged Democrats to rally behind her. Why did Biden step down? Biden was under intense pressure from Democratic elected officials and other party members to withdraw from the race. He is the oldest president in U.S. history at age 81, and concerns about his fitness for office increased after he struggled in a debate against Trump on June 27th. Polls showed that 74% of voters thought Biden was too old for the job. Biden initially refused calls to step down. Who will replace him on the ticket? The likely nominee is Harris, age 59. More than 200 Democratic officials endorsed her after Biden did, and when the Week Junior went to press on July 23rd, no one had challenged her for the role. Harris is from California, and her previous positions have included Attorney General, a state's top lawyer, and U.S. Senator from that state. In 2020, she became the first woman, first black person, and first South Asian American to be elected Vice President of the U.S. To formally become the nominee, Harris must be chosen by at least 1,976 of the Democratic Party's 3,949 delegates, people who represent voters from all 50 states. When the Week Junior went to press, news reports said she had the support of 2,887 delegates. A vote is required to make that official, and party leaders said it would be held online by August 7th. The nominee will attend the Democratic National Convention from August 19th to 22nd in Chicago, Illinois. How did people react to Biden's announcement? Harris praised Biden for a selfless and patriotic act in withdrawing from the race and said, "I will do everything in my power to unite the Democratic Party and unite our nation to defeat Donald Trump." Presidential historian John Meacham said Biden's decision showed he was putting the nation ahead of his own personal ambition. Biden has decided this campaign is not about him, but about us, Meacham told MSNBC. After Biden's announcement, supporters gathered outside the White House, chanting, "We love you," and carrying signs with messages like, "Thank you, Joe." Meanwhile, Trump said on social media that Joe Biden was not fit to run for president. What will happen next? Harris has begun traveling the U.S. to make her case to voters. On July 23rd, her team said more than 1.1 million donors had given more than $100 million to her campaign since Biden's announcement. Once the Democratic nominee is officially named, that person will choose a candidate for vice president to join the race with them. Several prominent Democrats have been suggested for that position. The Democratic nominee may participate in a presidential debate with Trump, although that has not yet been confirmed. And this is a sign that says, "Thank you, Joe," a Biden supporter outside the White House on July 21st. This is page 2, The Week Junior, August 2nd, 2024. Next page. This week's big news. New vaccine for malaria rolls out. On July 15th, Ivory Coast became the first country to give young children a new vaccine against malaria, disease spread by mosquitoes, called R21/Matrix-M. Malaria kills nearly 600,000 people in Africa every year, about 80% of them children. The West African nation plans to give the vaccine to about 250,000 children under age 2. R21/Matrix-M was developed by the University of Oxford in the UK and the Serum Institute of India, and approved by the World Health Organization in 2023. It is inexpensive to produce and is up to 80% effective in children. Another malaria vaccine, called Mosquirix, was approved in 2021 and given to about 2 million children, but is less effective. Going forward, about 100 million doses of R21/Matrix-M will be produced each year. Nigeria, Ghana, Burkina Faso, and the Central African Republic will begin giving the vaccine to children in the coming months as well. Adrian Hill, a scientist at Oxford, said the rollout of R21/Matrix-M marks the start of a new era in malaria control. The vaccine being given. Long history. Dinosaurs roamed Earth for most of the Mesozoic era, which spanned from 252 million to 66 million years ago. Apex on display. Apex the Stegosaurus. Record sale for dino fossil. The largest and most complete Stegosaurus fossil ever found sold for a record $44.6 million at Sotheby's auction house in New York City on July 17th. The dinosaur, named Apex, was purchased by business executive Ken Griffin and is now the most valuable fossil ever sold at auction, a sale where buyers compete by placing bids. The previous record was held by a Tyrannosaurus Rex named Stan, which sold for $31.8 million in 2020. Apex is 11 feet tall, nearly 27 feet long from nose to tail, and about 161 million years old. It was unearthed on private land in Colorado in 2022. Sotheby's initially expected it to sell for between $4 million and $6 million. But during the auction, potential buyers outbid one another, pushing the price up. Critics have said that auctions like these increase fossil prices so much that museums and scientific institutions can't afford them. Some private collectors can pay more, but privately held fossils are often unavailable for scientific research. Griffin, however, is known for making his collection accessible. In 2017, he acquired Sue, a 42-foot-long T-Rex, for $16.5 million. He donated it to the Field Museum in Chicago, Illinois. In 2021, he bought a first edition of the U.S. Constitution for $43.2 million and loaned it to the Crystal Bridges Museum of American Art in Arkansas. Griffin said he will loan Apex to a U.S. institution to share it with the public, rather than keeping it for private viewing. Apex was born in America and is going to stay in America, he said. The institution is yet to be determined. It's an amazing week for an emoji celebration. The 11th annual World Emoji Day was marked on July 17th, a day that was chosen because it appears on the emoji that depicts a calendar. The event's organizers encourage people to dress as their favorite emoji, bake emoji cakes, and send text messages entirely in emojis. We all use emojis every day, so why not celebrate them, they said. A kind gesture. A Texas cat sanctuary was out of money and about to shut its doors when a TikTok influencer stepped in. The facility had helped him rescue an injured stray he named Espy. In thanks, he asked his followers to support the shelter. His fans sent $190,000 in donations and 4 trucks of supplies, which will save more than 700 cats. This is Espy. Olympic style. Team Mongolia's uniforms for the opening and closing ceremonies of the Paris Olympics have gone viral. The high-fashion, hand-embroidered outfits are a stylish take on the nation's traditional clothing and use colors and symbols from its flag. Stunning, said a commenter. Gold medal already, said another. Team Mongolia's uniforms. Page 3 of The Week Junior, August 2nd, 2024. National news. Moon mythology. NASA named the Apollo program after the Greek god of light, music, and the sun. From left, astronauts Neil Armstrong, Michael Collins, and Buzz Aldrin. Below, Buzz Aldrin on the moon in 1969. NASA marks moon landing milestone. And song transmitted to Venus, Missy Elliott. On July 12th, NASA transmitted hip-hop artist Missy Elliott's song The Rain, Supa Dupa Fly, to Venus, a 14-minute trip over about 158 million miles. The song was sent with the same system used during the Apollo 11 mission in 1969. This was the second song sent into space after the Beatles Across the Universe in 2008. NASA, the U.S. Space Agency, has marked the 55th anniversary of the Apollo 11 spaceflight that landed humans on the moon. The groundbreaking event in 1969 was a historic achievement watched on television by 530 million people around the world. What was Apollo 11? The flight was part of NASA's Apollo program, which launched in 1961. Next year, President John F. Kennedy challenged the space agency to land the first person on the moon. At that time, the U.S. was competing in a space race with the Soviet Union, which Russia was part of. In 1961, a Soviet cosmonaut had become the first person in space by completing a flight orbiting the Earth. The first Apollo flight to the moon took place in 1968. What happened 55 years ago? On July 6, 1969, astronauts Neil Armstrong, Michael Collins, and Buzz Aldrin launched into space on Saturn V rocket. 3 days later, they entered the moon's orbit. As they approached the moon, they boarded the Eagle, a smaller spacecraft built for a moon landing. After Armstrong stepped onto the lunar surface on July 20th, he said words that instantly became famous. "That's one small step for a man, one giant leap for mankind." Before returning to Earth, the astronauts collected rock and soil for scientists to study. The breakthrough voyage paved the way for 5 more Apollo missions to the moon, with a total of 12 astronauts walking on the lunar surface before the project ended in 1972. How was the anniversary observed? NASA celebrated the milestone by naming a building at its space center in Texas after Dorothy Vaughan, NASA's first black manager who helped launch the Apollo program. It also held a model rocket contest and panel discussions. Aldrin, aged 94, spoke to People magazine to mark the anniversary. "Gratitude, I think, might be my strongest feeling, even now," he said about his role in the Apollo mission. What will happen next? NASA is preparing to return to the moon with its Artemis mission, using new technology to study the lunar surface. It is planning for 4 astronauts to orbit the moon in 2025 and hopes to land astronauts on the moon's south pole in 2026. Word of the week is lyrebird. The Australian lyrebird is known for its remarkable ability to mimic different sounds and for its song. Its name was chosen because males have long tails that look like a lyre, a stringed instrument that resembles a small U-shaped harp. The English word lyric also comes from lyre. The week in history. July 30th, 1729. Baltimore, Maryland is established. On July 30th, 1729, the Maryland General Assembly passed a bill calling for a town to be built on the north side of the Patapsco River. It was to be named after Lord Baltimore, who had established the colony of Maryland in 1632. Baltimore's busy shopping port made it one of the largest U.S. cities for nearly 200 years. Today, it is the 30th largest U.S. city, with a population of more than 565,000. A view of Baltimore. This is page 4 of the Week Junior, August 2nd, 2024. National news. Did you know? Major League Soccer, MLS, was formed in 1996 and showcases the top level of soccer competition in North America. Kevin Sullivan. Teen soccer player sets record. At age 14, Kevin Sullivan has become the youngest player to appear in a Major League Soccer MLS match. He came on as a substitute for the Philadelphia Union in the 85th minute of the club's 5-1 win over the New England Revolution on July 17th. Sullivan, who was 14 years and 293 days old at the time of his appearance in the match, broke a record previously set by Freddie Adu in April 2004 when he was 14 years and 306 days old. Sullivan is also the youngest player in any major professional sports league in North America, including the NBA, WNBA, NHL, NFL, and MLB, since at least 1970, according to the Elias Sports Bureau. Soccer runs in Sullivan's family. Both of his parents played the sport at the University of Pennsylvania, and his older brother Quinn Sullivan, age 20, also plays for the Union. Kevin joined the Philadelphia Union Academy, a competitive youth soccer program affiliated with the club at age 10, and signed a pro contract at the Union in May. Kevin entered the July 17th match moments after Quinn scored a goal for the Union. During his playing time, Kevin completed the first pass of his professional career to his brother. Kevin took a shot on goal from outside the penalty box toward the end of the match, but it was saved by the Revolution goalkeeper. Quinn said on the sidelines after that, receiving his brother's first MLS pass was a pretty special moment. Adu, who was retired from professional soccer, offered his congratulations on social media, saying that's a hard record to break, and the kid did it. This is just the start, Kevin said at a press conference after the match. I'm really, really happy to have done this. The team logo. Philadelphia Union. The week's silliest headline. Mystery emu found wandering loose through Pennsylvania neighborhood, UPI. The school in Texas. School is named a historic site. The Blackwell School in Marfa, Texas has been named a National Historic Site. From the time it was built in 1909 until 1965, Mexican-American children who were banned from attending public schools due to racism were taught there. Visitors can see photographs and read stories from teachers and students. The historic designation will protect the site and preserve it for future generations, said Deb Haaland, Secretary of the Interior. One of the recipients. Artistic honorees are selected. Recipients of the 2024 Kennedy Center Honors, which recognize lifetime artists' achievements, were announced by the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts in Washington, D.C. The honorees are the Apollo Theater in New York City, singer Bonnie Raitt, filmmaker Francis Ford Coppola, jazz musician Arturo Sandoval, and the Grateful Dead rock group. The awards will be given in December. And here's welcome to the world-famous Apollo Theater. The baby. Orangutan is born at U.S. Zoo. The Philadelphia Zoo in Pennsylvania has announced the birth of a Sumatran orangutan. The gender of the baby, born on June 26 to mother Tua, age 31, and father Sugi, age 28, has not yet been determined. The animals are critically endangered, with fewer than 14,000 on the island of Sumatra in Indonesia, the only place they live in the wild. The zoo is part of a breeding program to save the species. This is page 5 of the Week Junior, August 2nd, 2024. Okay, so this is the end of part 1 of reading the Week Junior. And I hope you enjoyed it. If you really liked it, then maybe you can ask your parents to subscribe to it for you so you can read new news from around the whole world every single week. I hope you liked learning this news. I certainly did, and I liked reading it to you guys. So I hope you have a good rest of your day, and stay tuned for part 2. And bye, guys.